Hi guys, so excited to be able to bring you top quality information. I'm Sadie. A couple of years ago, a family of physicians changed my life. Then a couple called Dania, Rosel and Dana Duran had the opportunity of helping my family and I through a very difficult time. At this time, we had just lost our father. He was the rock of our house and we were just completely blown away by the sincerity and the way that they were. Thus, they became our fourth mentors. And we're extremely thankful to be able to have the opportunity to share in fellowship with them, as well as being able to build an asset that will potentially help my family and I never have to go back to work. And so today we're going to talk about spiritual prosperity. So excited to be able to talk to you about something that changed my world completely. As I mentioned before, a couple of years ago, we had the opportunity of meeting a family that changed our life. Rosal and Dana Duran had given us the opportunity to never look back and recreate something that we did a couple of years ago. Today we're going to talk about spiritual prosperity. At the time I had no idea what this was. All I knew was that I wanted to stay home and be a stay-home mom. I also knew that I wanted my husband to come home and be successful. And I prayed, God sent people, and I recognized them by having discernment that they were people that were going to help us because they held themselves at a very high standard. So today's talk, as I mentioned, is about spiritual prosperity and the things that we have to do to move forward. And as I mentioned, my mentors introduced us into an invitation-only type of mentorship program that changed the course of our family twice. My thoughts had the craziest things, and I didn't know that I had been programmed my whole entire life to think like somebody, like just basically assembly line. And at the time, it just kept on saying crazy things and I kept on feeding it. And at this time, my daughter had passed, my first one. I was devastated. And so I was in trouble. I was caught up in between a very convoluted, very painful world. And so I started searching. This is a couple of years back at 25, and I had 3 questions that lingered in my mind, and they just did not let me just live. And these were particularly, number 1, why was I born? And it just kept on like pounding in my head in the middle of the night. I was in nursing school at this particular time. It was a very, very compacted program, and if you ever met any nurse whatsoever, it was something crazy. And so number 2, why did I come here? Whatever your belief system is, I believe that God made us, and basically why did he allow for me to be born? I have a disability, and because of that my parents were told crazy things, and it made them come here to America to find a better situation. 3 months later, Chavez, which is the dictator of my country, took over the country, and then we basically escaped just in time. And so this second question as well continued to go into my mind, and they wouldn't let me sleep because I needed these answers. And then number 3, this was around 25, and that was, what is my purpose? And of course I knew that with the nursing career I would be able to achieve several milestones. At the time I hadn't gotten extremely sick the way that I was. I hadn't had a couple of surgeries for a couple of years. And my life was very promising. I was a young girl and I was staying at a fellow pastor's home. Pastor Salva changed our life as well. And then I went to Proverbs 28:25. And this is about humility. And so I recommend for you to read it on your own. I'm not going to go ahead and talk about it now. But something that really brought it literally blew my mind was this verse that said, an arrogant man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts in the Lord will prosper. So when Jesus told the disciples before taking off and flying over to heaven, he actually told them, well, now you know basically the truth, the gospel, and I want you to go out there and prosper. He didn't tell us to go and get a job, work for 40 years, and then stay home after that because you're sick. You know, your knees are out, you can't enjoy anything. He told us to basically live a life with purpose of no regret. And so I took that into consideration a couple of years later when these people came into my life, because I knew that God sent something wonderful to my family. So I invite you to ask yourself these three questions. So number one, why are you born? And that should be badgering on the head over and over again if you're anything like me. Number two, why did you come here? Whether you have another belief system, nothing wrong with that. Just ask yourself over and over again. And then number three, what is your purpose? What do you want out of life? What is your future gonna be like? What are the future generations gonna talk about you? Are they gonna remember you? Are you gonna be in textbooks? With the times that we're living currently, you have to know that you're worth so much more. But I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you. You should be looking, searching, and then finally come across a good financial vehicle that's been around since 1959 that can potentially give you the life of your dreams. As we were building, we encountered a lot of issues. People talked about suing us. They thought that we hit it off and we were making millions. That wasn't the case at that particular time.